The first time we detected them, I thought our equipment had malfunctioned. I was stationed at observation post deep beneath the crushing weight of our ocean world, monitoring the thermal vents that powered our civilization. My name is Krell, and I had been doing this job for cycles without incident. The water around us was thick, dark, and beautifully silent. That was how things were supposed to be. Then came the ping. A single sharp sound that cut through the water like a blade through flesh. It echoed off our dome structure, bounced back into the depths, and left a ringing in my auditory sensors that made my skin plates vibrate with discomfort. "Did you hear that?" I asked Vina, my monitoring partner. She was younger than me, barely into her service, but she had sharper senses than anyone I had ever worked with. She pressed her webbed hands against the sensor array, her eye clusters widening with concern. "I heard it. What kind of geological event makes a sound like that?" "No geological event," I said slowly, watching the readouts flicker and dance. "That was deliberate. That was a signal." Another ping hit us stronger this time. Then another. Then a cascade of them rolling through the water in waves that made our entire outpost shudder. The pattern was unmistakable. Someone, or something, was scanning our waters, searching, hunting. I activated the emergency communication line to Central Command. The connection crackled to life, and Commander Thex's gravelly voice filled our chamber. "Observation post report. Sir, we are detecting unknown acoustic signatures, multiple sources moving in coordinated patterns from our position. The sounds are artificial. Repeat, artificial in origin." There was a pause that stretched too long. When Thex spoke again, his voice had changed. Gone was the routine boredom of a commander expecting another false alarm. Now he sounded tense, alert, dangerous. "Lock down your station. Full blackout protocol. Do not, under any circumstances, make a sound." The line went dead. Vina looked at me, her bioluminescent markings flaring with anxiety. "Blackout protocol? Krell, we have never run a blackout protocol, not once in the entire history of the monitoring program." I was already moving, my hands dancing across the control panels, shutting down every system that hummed, clicked, or buzzed. There is a first time for everything. "Help me with the water circulation pumps." We worked in frantic silence, powering down equipment that had run continuously for decades. The outpost grew darker with each system we disabled. The gentle hum of technology that had been our constant companion faded away, leaving only the distant, muffled sounds of the ocean itself. And those pings, those horrible, probing pings that kept coming, kept searching, kept getting closer. "What are they?" Vina whispered, her voice barely audible. Even in the perfect quiet we had created, I had no answer. Our people had been alone on this world for as long as our records existed. We had mapped every trench, cataloged every species, explored every underwater mountain range. We were the apex intelligence here. We were supposed to be alone. The pings grew louder, more frequent. I could track their source now on our passive sensors, the only systems we had left running. There were several of them, moving in a formation that spoke of military precision. They were metallic, huge, and completely unlike anything in our biological databases. "They are vessels," I realized aloud. "Ships, but not our ships." Vina's skin went pale, shifting from her usual deep blue to an ashen gray. That means we are not alone anymore. A new sound joined the pings. This one was different, lower, more powerful. It swept through the water like a physical force, and our passive sensors lit up with data. They were using some kind of advanced scanning technology, something that could map the ocean floor, detect objects, maybe even differentiate between rock and living tissue. They were looking for us. I watched the display as one of the vessels changed course, angling directly toward our position. It had detected something. Maybe a reflected echo from our dome, maybe a heat signature we had not managed to mask, maybe just the geometric regularity of our structure standing out against the natural chaos of the ocean floor. "Krell," Vina said, her voice shaking, "it is coming here." I grabbed her arm, pulling her away from the sensor array toward the emergency shelter built into the back of our outpost. "Move, now! Do not touch anything. Do not make a sound." We sealed ourselves inside the reinforced chamber just as the vessel passed overhead. The water pressure changed. I could feel it in my bones. A massive displacement caused by something enormous moving through the depths. The pings became deafening, bouncing off our dome at point-blank range. Then, silence. The vessel had stopped directly above us. Vina pressed herself against the wall, every one of her breathing vents sealed tight to avoid making even the slightest bubble. I did the same, fighting every instinct that screamed at me to move, to flee, to do something other than wait like prey, hoping the predator wouldn't notice us. Time crawled. The vessel hung there in the water, its presence a weight that crushed down on us more effectively than the ocean itself. Then it moved on. The pressure shifted again as it continued its patrol, the pings fading into the distance. I waited until I could no longer detect it on any of our sensors before I allowed myself to breathe again. "What just happened?" Vina asked, her voice small and frightened. We were scanned, examined. They were looking for signs of intelligent life. Did they find us? I thought about the way the vessel had stopped, lingered, then moved on. I do not know. Maybe we were just another rock formation to them. Maybe their sensors were not as good as ours. Or maybe... I did not finish the thought because the possibility was too frightening to say out loud. Maybe they knew exactly where we were, and they were just gathering information before they struck.